Hello, my name is Zara and I'm in Year 11. For my International Women's Day presentation, I'm going to be introducing this year's theme, which is #BreakTheBias. To begin, it is worth explaining what is meant by bias in this context. In a general sense, it refers to an unfair prejudice for or against a person or a group. For the purposes of International Women's Day 2022, the bias in question is that which makes the life of a woman unnecessarily difficult or lacking in opportunity. There are clear statistics that demonstrate the bias against women. For example, the United Nations has recently published some findings from the Gender Social Norms Index, which measures how social beliefs obstruct gender equality. The research was conducted across 75 different countries and showed that 90% of people are biased against women in some way, and that no countries in the world have gender equality. These findings include the bias that women have against other women, and pertain to at least one bias against women in relation to politics, economics, education, violence, and reproduction. Further findings from the GSNI were that 50% of men and women feel that men make better political leaders, that 40% feel that men make better business executives, and that men have more right to a job when jobs are limited. These statistics negatively impact women because they create stereotypes that women cannot be in positions of power. This will impact young girls in society inspiring to be leaders. In some areas this is improving, in others it is only getting worse. One way to encourage people to join this call for action is to look at inspirational individuals and also groups who have challenged bias. There are many individuals who have done this, not just because of gender bias. For example, Stephen Hawking achieved so much despite the stereotype of illness and disability. Malala Yousafzai, who became the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize winner in 2014 after speaking out for the rights of girls to be educated and being shot for doing so. Today I would like to single out two women whom I particularly admire, Simone Biles and Greta Thunberg. Simone Biles broke the gender bias set out for her by the media. She was always portrayed in a way that concentrated on her clothing or her demeanour, when this would never happen to a male gymnast. Despite this, she was the first American female gymnast to win 4 gold medals at a single Games, the first gymnast to win 3 consecutive world all-around titles, and she holds the world record for the most gold medals in a world championship history. As well as this, she left the last Olympic Games because of a loss of confidence and made it clear to fans all over the world that you do not have to be perfect every day, and that it is okay to talk about mental stress. Greta Thunberg is a climate change activist. Aged 16, she challenged world leaders and criticised them for neglecting the impacts of climate change and for not acting. She broke the bias that suggests children do not have a voice, in particular that young girls cannot be heard effectively. She has inspired young people, including me, to speak about climate change. After her speeches, a US poll showed that roughly 1 in 4 people aged 13 to 17 had taken action against climate change by attending a protest or writing to a public official. Both women are influential because they are brave, confident and courageous. Simone Biles is brave because she spoke about her mental health while under huge amounts of pressure to perform at the Olympics. She also regularly competes in a very competitive sport in front of large audiences. Greta Thunberg speaks about climate change in front of world leaders. She's determined to make a change. I think when looking at inspiring female role models, it's important to also consider those within our school community. Lucy Grant is an alumna of Arnold School who went on to read law at King's College London. She is currently the legal director for Thermo Fisher Scientific in the UK and Ireland. She breaks the bias by being a powerful woman and having a top role in the world's biggest life sciences company. Helen Lucking attended Arnold School and read law at Nottingham University before studying at Chester Law College. She has been a partner at Napthans Solicitors since 2005. Helen specialises in family law and was appointed to the Law Society's Children's Panel in 1999, as well as being appointed as chair of the Education and Welfare Committee. She breaks the bias by being a female solicitor in a position of leadership. Both women are an inspiration for young girls hoping to read law or to attain positions of leadership. These women walked the halls of our heritage schools and had a very similar experience to that which we are having now. It's inspiring to think we could one day follow in their footsteps. I aim to support breaking the bias by committing to actively call out gender bias where I see it, as called for by the International Women's Day 2022, as well as recognising and celebrating people in the media who break the bias. The International Women's Day 2022 proposes to imagine a world where genders are equal, there is no bias, stereotype or discrimination, the world is diverse, equitable and inclusive. Difference is valued and celebrated. Awareness is not enough. Action is needed. The International Women's Day 2022 calls for us to actively call out gender bias, discrimination and stereotyping in our communities, in our workplaces and in our schools and universities. You can get involved in these discussions, whether through the school or online. Show your support, contribute your ideas, and help us to move to a place where everyone can enjoy the same opportunities and the same lack of bias. In order to achieve this, it needs everyone to work together. It is important that we actively call out gender bias so we can create a society free of stereotypes, discrimination and bias.